Okay, I am not a mechanic. I have no idea what I'm doing. This is not intended to be a complete how-to video, but I hope it helps anyone looking to try to do it. I watched somebody do it on the internet and decided to give it a try. So good luck to you if you decide to follow in my footsteps. Just trying to make sure everything stays clean when we replace the seals. Always put the seals in a little bit of the shock oil before trying to put them in, just to make sure everything slides in nice and pretty. And there's a lot of seals in the kit, but it's pretty obvious which seals go where. They're all different shapes and sizes, diameters, but it's pretty clear cut. There's not very many that are similar. This is a little trick. Try to get that valve sweep in there, the sweep seal in there, whatever the hell the thing's called. So you want to bring the piston up just a little bit past the cylinder. And then set the band down inside. I wish I could have got a better shot of that. There might be one in another video. And just put the wear band around it, tuck it in, and then finish pushing the piston in. It works so much easier. And just tapping the piston down into the bottom. You want to give it a good smack to set it into place. And it puts that lower piston down into the gas chamber. And make sure the Schrader valve core is out when you do that. Some dummy left it in when I tried to put that in. Creates pressure. And that's the metal retainer ring that goes down in there. It keeps that piston in place. You just kind of drop it in there. Push it down in. Just use a little graboid to push it down into place. And it doesn't have to go in perfect, because what you're going to do is you're going to put a little air pressure behind that piston, and it'll push it and snap that ring right into place. And that's what I'm doing with the bicycle pump. I'm going to put a layer behind it and it'll push that piston forward. There she goes. And once it sets into the final position, make sure you tap it down. You want to tap it down about 1 inch, because you don't want it riding right up against that retaining ring. So just tap it straight down, like it could go anywhere else. And then the internal valve body goes in. Stripping out the old seals. And then just open up the bleeder valves in the top. Don't take them out. There's a little tiny ball bearing in behind those Allen screws that open up the bleeders. So you don't want to lose that. And if you didn't start with this video, there's another video where it goes into detail how I pulled those seals out. And this is the Viton seal. You just got to be real careful when putting it in. You don't want to dig it up or use any metal tools. And if you get the leading edge into the bottom, kind of slowly push that into the groove. Nice and easy. And then just work your way around. This is the worst seal to try to get in. And I did have to struggle with it. It was a struggle session for a while. But once you get the first one in, the others follow suit. It has a pretty quick learning curve. You can figure it out pretty quickly. Just go easy with it. And again, just slowly pushing it around and just getting it set into the groove in the bottom while we do it. It's hard to do in video. Got to keep my fat head out of the way and still be close enough to work on the part and still be able to try to show it. In one of the later, there's another video in the series here that I did in full real time, showing how the seals go in. And when you get that last little bit, it does have a real satisfying little snap to it, and it goes right into place. And that's the worst of it. That's the hardest one to get in. The others are real easy. And some of the seals will have a little split on the top, and then they're split on the bottom and flat on top. The split always goes towards pressure, and the flat part would go towards atmosphere. And sometimes that lower seal is around O-ring. And here's where we're showing it's kind of got that split. The split goes down towards pressure. And the top wiper seal is clearly different than the others, and they do not look anything the same. And they do get a little slippery. Imagine that. I have no idea if I did this right, so I'm sure posting it I will get very polite comments on how to do it correctly. But it was fun to try to do. I had a good time working with it and doing it, kind of fuddling my way through the whole process. Because there's not a whole lot of clear documentation on how to do this. So if anybody out there knows how to really do this, I greatly appreciate the feedback. And again, it's not intended to be a complete how-to video because I really don't know what I'm doing. I'm just throwing it out there so that if anybody's brave enough to take on the project and give it a shot, you can go ahead and give it a shot. To buy these shocks brand new, they're anywhere from $400 to $500 a piece. You can get all the parts to do this for under $500, and you can build all 4 of them. And this is the wear band coming off the piston. There's a little O-ring under that too. Just kind of detailing the shim pack that's in there for the valving. Put on the new O-ring. And the new wear band. And just putting the bullet on the end so that you can get it on there and get the top seal on there without messing up your seals. And then filling it up with shock oil. And you want to come up to just underneath the threads in the cap. And what I've run into is making sure that the piston is fully in the up position before you put it in. I tried it extended before and ended up rebuilding the whole shock. And I found this works the best. I don't know if it's right, but that's what I did. It's hard to see in the video, but yeah, I'm spilling hydraulic fluid all over the place while I put that in. At least I know it's full. And also make sure your bleeders are open when you do this part. Set it in there and get it started by hand. You don't want to cross thread that bad boy. Somebody was good enough to cross thread the other shock and had to tear it apart. Set the torque wrench to good and tight. What I did find out too is that lower bushing, if that lower bushing spins real easy from side to side while you got it there, it needs to be replaced. They ended up taking that whole thing apart and replacing the bushing. And then filling it with nitrogen to hopefully it'll hold pressure. And I put it up to about 210, 220 just to make sure it would hold pressure. And I actually went and got the nitrogen tank and regulator and all that mess. Really don't need to do that. I think any of your local shops, if they got halfway decent guys, they will fill it for you. And this is just taking the bushing out. I wanted to see if this would work. That's just a piece of PVC underneath there and pushing down on the bushing, and miraculously I actually pushed it out just using a piece of PVC. I think it's important to use a really broad socket so you kind of get a far reach out there, and it popped out just fine. If you try to use it a little bit smaller socket, it wants to mushroom inside of itself and it locks into place, makes it a lot harder to push out. Yeah, I didn't believe this worked. I don't really recommend this. I did try it again later on, couldn't reproduce it, and it just completely sent pieces of PVC flying across the garage. So I don't recommend doing it. If you can get it to work good enough, but do so at your own risk. Just because I did it, I'm an idiot. I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, I was just amazed that it actually worked. So again, don't try it at home, kids. And I did have to grind off one side of that coupling. It's just a, yeah, I think it's a 2-inch piece of PVC coupling.